Hi there, Miss Rita here. Today we're making asparagus soup, and what I've done is I've got my pan heated and I'm putting in 2 tablespoons of butter. I like to use butter with no salt, just keeping my salt content cut down. And to that butter, I'm going to keep it on a medium high heat, and to that butter I'm going to add some chopped up shallots and get those nice and coated with the butter. And as soon as those are nice and coated, and unfortunately I could not find any shallots in the food store today that were fresh, so I'm having to use some dried shallots. So all I really want to do is just coat those with the butter. Now if they were fresh shallots, you'd want to saute them for 1 to 2 minutes until they were nice and tender. But since we're not doing that, we're going to just let them get coated with that butter. And then to that, I have a pound of asparagus that I've gotten the very thin, young, tender asparagus, and I'm going to add that to the butter and shallots, and we're going to saute that. Now first what I did is I cut off, on half of it, I cut off the nice tips, because we're going to use the tips for a garnish later on. So I'm going to saute this asparagus in here for a couple of minutes, not too long. Just want to get the butter over it, and mix in those shallots real good, and maybe start to tenderize it just a tad. Okay. So to that, I am now going to add a tablespoon of flour. The flour is for thickening. We're going to thicken this up as it cooks because we're making soup. Yay! So there goes a tablespoon of all-purpose flour, and get that stirred in there really, really good. Get all that asparagus coated with that flour, and then to the flour we are going to add 2.5 cups of vegetable stock. Now what I like to do is when I cook my vegetables, I like to keep the stock. Unfortunately, don't have any, so this is store-bought vegetable stock. Please read your labels. I bought the one that has the least amount of salt in it. Salt is important, that we keep salt. I'm going to just put that and bring my heat up a little bit so we can get it nice going here. Kind of get that flour sort of mixed in with that. And this is going to be a 2 process because this is going to take the asparagus 20 minutes to cook, and then we're going to do something really fun with it. So I'm going to put the rest of that vegetable stock in there. That vegetable stock smells really good. And now I'm going to bring this up to a boil. Also, I've got to add some lemon juice, and you know I don't measure, so it's about a tablespoon of lemon juice, but I've just took a lemon, cut it in half, and I'm going to sprinkle that in there, and it's going to be really good. A little lemon juice and asparagus goes really, really good together. So get that nice and squeezed in there, and we're going to bring that to a boil, and don't want to miss out. Put that one in there. So as you can see, our asparagus is coming to a full boil, and I put a lid on it, and that does smell really, really, really good. But I put a lid on that, and what we're going to do is we're going to time that for about 20 minutes and let that continue to cook. The next thing on our agenda is to saute those asparagus tips just slightly. So I've got the last teaspoon of butter in my little saute pan, and we're going to bring up the heat on that so that we can saute those tips. As I said before, it's going to be our garnish on the top of our soup. The asparagus is fork tender, and I even went to the extra measure of tasting it. So I'm going to turn the heat off of the asparagus and let it kind of cool down a little bit. We want it to cool because the next thing we're going to do is put it in our blender. Food processor would be nice. I happen to just have a blender. So we're going to put it in the blender and puree it. So getting that butter nice and hot so that we can saute these asparagus tips in it. Alright, so I have liquefied our soup in my blender. It's still warm. And we're going to pour this through the sieve. I wish you could see the way it's coming through. That smells so very good. So we're going to stir this asparagus around. So it all comes through, and what we're trying to do here is get the lumps of the fleshy part of the asparagus to not be as part of our soup, because we want it nice and smooth. So we're going to do that, and you can see it's dripping through. It's going to take a little bit of time for that all to drip through. And oh boy, is it going to be worth it.